Hey guys, I'm Shahitha, and welcome back to this week's episode of the Okay But Listen podcast. Like I mentioned in last week's episode, I basically said that I wanted this to kind of be a safe space for people to come and listen and be more realistic about things that a teenager may view. So for today's episode, I wanted to talk about making mistakes and learning from them, and how making mistakes is probably one of the best things that'll ever happen to you throughout your entire life. So first and foremost, I kind of just wanted to bring up failure in general and why it's so important. And I feel like it's something that everyone should experience, and obviously people do, but I don't think people ever truly realize how important and how effective it is. So I think that's something that needs to be brought up more, because honestly, going through failures is it's equivalent to almost being humbled in a way, but also through that humbling experience you're learning something new about yourself. Failure to me is kind of like a door closing and then another door opening. So through that process, you're kind of figuring out what doesn't work for you and what does work for you. And I think that's really important, especially when you're trying to figure out who exactly you are and what things may fit your needs and stuff like that. So I think that failure is it shows that you did try and you did put yourself out there, and even though that didn't work out, you still did try. And I think that's really important. And then secondly, while experiencing failure, you also experience making mistakes. And like I said before, mistakes are truly a part of who someone is, and they say a lot about who you are. I feel like when you make mistakes, you really start to realize what exactly matters to you. And I think that's important, but it kind of just gives you a sense of what your priorities are and what you really need to be caring about. So I think making those mistakes and then learning from them kind of really do push you to understand what exactly you're looking for, and how you might be able to take that approach through the next time you're trying something. And to me, mistakes are honestly or even failures in this case, they really resemble how strong you are when things don't go your way, especially coming from someone who really likes things in a certain way. I want things to be coordinated. I really prefer when things are in order, and when things don't go my way, it's a whole different deal to me. So I really think that when someone messes something up and they're I made a mistake, I know this is bad on my part, and then they realize whatever happened didn't go their way, they have to learn to live with that. And you have to live to overcome your mistake and kind of just accept that that's going to be part of who you are for the rest of your life. And that's fine. And you have to carry that on your back for the rest of your life. And obviously it's going to be something you remember if it did impact you as much as it did. But you're going to end up realizing that whatever happened, it happened for a reason, and it was so that you could learn from it. And I think that's super important for people to finally realize, because honestly, no one gets it right the first time, and I feel no one should be able to get it right the first time. I think that part of growing is you're gonna have to try things more than once to get them right. So I think just building that sense of continuity and obviously endurance, trying over and over again, that's really important. And that growth that happens is in between. It's when you're confused, or when you're adjusting, or honestly even just when you're uncomfortable. And perfection is such a fraud. Honestly, I used to think that if I did everything perfectly, people would like me more, or I'd have more friends, teachers and family would like me more. But obviously that's not the case. In that process, I think when worried and being caught up so much about trying to be perfect, you really lose yourself and who you are and what your true intentions are. And within that, you kind of avoid trying things, and obviously in the process of trying things, you're gonna mess up. And I think you're missing out on that whole part that involves trying new things and messing up, and that being a part of who you are, learning from those mistakes. So I think the whole like perfection thing, being perfect, getting everything perfectly in place, like overall just being someone who's really put together, that is so unrealistic. That's not real. And people who are said perfect are obviously have no character. They have no personality because they haven't learned from things like this, like mistakes. And I think that's super important to who you are. Because at the end of the day, you don't have to earn your worth by being flawless, by having no flaws. Like that itself is something that sounds so ridiculous to me. And I think the right way to kind of know what your worth is and earn it for yourself is having that self-realization that you are learning something new every day by trying new things, and that's okay. So honestly, this is kind of just a reminder that you're not behind in life, you're not broken, and you're also not the only one who doesn't have it together. Next time, I hope that when you feel like you failed, you remember this, and you remember that you're allowed to mess up, and messing up only makes you real. It only makes you a real human being, and it's also going to bring out a side of you that you wouldn't have known unless you allowed yourself to make those mistakes. And I can say this personally, because honestly, like, especially in the last couple of years, I feel like I have made so many mistakes, whether like little or big, and I feel like they truly shaped what kind of person I am now, and they definitely say a lot about me. So yeah, I think it's just a matter of how you handle certain situations, and then also just what you take from making those mistakes. And I think that really says a lot about who you are as an individual. But anyways, to wrap up today's episode, thank you so much to anyone who stuck to the end, and I'm so looking forward to seeing whoever's watching in the next episode. But thank you so much for watching the Okay But Listen podcast, and I hope to catch you guys soon.